A keto diet, is it really good for you or not? We know it can help you lose weight, but what are the long-term effects? Hi, I'm GloryB, and this is GloryB-TV. I'm here today with Dr. Stephen Lome, a lifestyle cardiologist, and today we're going to talk about the keto diet. Now, we know lots and lots of people have gone on it with the goal to lose weight, and they want to keep it off. Just reading what's in it, though, I'm so concerned about it because of the high fat content. Is it high protein content too, or is it mostly high fat?
It's usually more high fat. That's the way that they advocate it, but it certainly is higher in protein as well, yeah.
Yeah, and even a friend of mine who's been doing some consulting work at a company near where he lives, he said, so in their cafeteria, they got some special diet. He goes, it's not vegan, it's something else. And I said, is it keto? And he goes, yeah, it's keto. I go, what's in it? Steve. His name is Steve, too. And he said, he's mentioning these things. They're all high fat. He goes, how is that good for them? I go, it's not. Well, anyway, that's my opinion. But I want a lifestyle cardiologist's opinion of the keto diet.
So, yeah, so just to be clear, a keto diet is one that crazy restricts the intake of carbohydrates. And so
all carbs, even
carbohydrates.
Good carbs.
Yeah, so there's good carbs and bad carbs, but all carbs are restricted. One apple will put you off the ketogenic diet. But we know an apple a day keeps the doctor away, right? So you're like automatically, your warning flags have to go up saying, well, you can't even eat an apple, and it's not good, So the ketogenic diet restricts all carbohydrates, which effectively actually puts you into a state of starvation. And so when you get put into the state of starvation, your brain is saying, listen, we run on glucose, we need some kind of a fuel. And so it makes these things called ketone bodies in order to try to actually fuel the brain and stop it from being in the starvation state. And so, another red flag should be, wait a second, do I want my body to live in a state of starvation for the long term, right? And so when you do a ketogenic diet, the weight comes off crazy fast. A lot of that weight, though, initially is actually water weight. The first week to 10 days or so, you can lose a ton of water, even like 10 pounds of water. So people see that scale and they go, this is wonderful. But what you're consuming is a lot of animal products, meat, chicken, beef, pork, bacon. You can do processed meats. Certain vegetables are allowed that are lower in carbohydrates. And even just a teeny bit of like berries, like raspberries, could be allowed if you keep it very restricted. But ultimately, the amount of cholesterol and saturated fat in these diets is huge. In general, the LDL cholesterol number goes up slightly on a ketogenic diet, although there's a lot of variation from person to person.
Right.
And people lose weight. And when they lose weight, they go, oh, my blood pressure got better. Oh, my diabetes got better. And there's all these stories and blog articles and even doctors that promote it. But ultimately, when you're thinking about a diet for you or what's right for you, you don't want to think about short term, right? You want to think about what's good for you in the long term. If I had an obese patient in front of me and I said, hey, listen, I want you to go on a cocaine binge right now, guess what's going to happen? They're going to lose a bunch of weight. If I said start smoking 3 packs of cigarettes a day, guess what's going to happen? They're going to lose a bunch of weight. Their diabetes will get better. Their blood pressure will get better from the weight loss effects. Is that healthy for you long term? Absolutely not. So the data is very clear. There's multiple research studies and meta-analysis showing overall increase in mortality, death, long term, if you maintain a ketogenic diet for the long term. In heart disease patients, that mortality rate is even higher, as high as 51% mortality just a few years if you maintain a low carbohydrate ketogenic type diet. And so it's certainly not anything that's recommended by any major institute for overall long-term health. But people love it. They get to eat the foods that their culture tells them to eat, that their food system provides them. And those animal foods can taste good, and they get the weight loss from it. So our culture really digs it for those effects. But again, you don't want to focus on the short term. You really need the long term.
Right. I saw in the last week a video by Dr. Neal Barnard, and someone was interviewing him and asked him about keto, and he goes, well, first it was the Atkins diet.
Yes.
And that was all the rage, high protein. Then it was the South Beach diet, all the rage. Now it's the keto diet, all the rage. So many of you who are in the medical field, who really understand health and long-term health and what really works, you're saying this is just another fad that's going to hurt a lot of people. I mean, look at Dr. Atkins. He died of his own heart disease.
Yeah, he was 262 pounds when he died.
Oh
He had high blood pressure and enlarged heart. Yeah, I mean, it's very clear that long term, it's not good. And again, short term you can do it. You know, there is such thing as plant-based ketogenic diets as well.
Is there really?
There is, and it has the similar effects. But again, it just doesn't really make sense. You know, all the longest living cultures in the world ever, the blue zones, they were all predominantly plant-based, 95% on average, and crazy high in carbohydrates from whole plant foods, not the refined
not cake and bread.
Yeah, not white flour and sugar and stuff.
Right.
But there was no longest living culture ever. None of these blue zones ever were on a ketogenic type diet.
Right.
So it just makes no sense for a long term. But yeah, but the marketing is out there, and there's a lot of money in weight loss because more than 80% of America is overweight or obese. So this is a multi-billion-dollar industry, and people will buy it up.
Right.
And so, but you got to be an informed consumer. Don't do something that's going to hurt you in the long term.
Right. Now, before we turned on the camera, we said this video could anger a lot of people, and we understand that because people who've done the keto diet and who've lost weight, that was their goal. But what we like to say is there's a better way. The whole food plant-based diet is really superior. And if you watch the other videos where I've talked with Dr. Lome, or a couple other videos that I've done in the past, and maybe they're going to be more in the future where I talk about this, where you get really long-term health, and another great benefit is weight loss, and you're not hurting yourself, you're not hurting your arteries or your heart, or having more risk of
cancer
and type 2 diabetes. We haven't even talked about cancer, but people have reversed cancer with this diet, or turned things around when they had a cancer scare and gotten a lot better. It's just amazing when you start digging around and finding actual patient testimony about what happened in their body and what happened in their life. Weight loss has been a bonus. I don't know anybody who's whole food plant-based who's overweight, who's been this way, who is, even if they started overweight, they might be taking a long time to get to weight loss, but a year can be, normal for people to go from point A to point B.
Yeah, about a pound a week you can lose.
But some people are 6 months. It just depends on how much time they have. And I told Dr. Lome before turning on the camera, I was at a conference last year where Dr. Joel Furman, who's gotten to be known because he's on PBS and has several books out now, I call him a pistol. He's kind of a character. And when he was in front of the microphone, a couple other things he said. He said one time he was being recorded for PBS, and he said Cookie Monster needs to change its diet. PBS took that out. And he said something, I know YouTube will make this non-monetized if I repeat another thing he said. So I'm not going to say that one. But he said anybody who promotes the keto diet should be arrested and put in jail. Just because he thinks overall it's going to kill people. So
the question is it medical malpractice if a doctor recommends a ketogenic diet, especially to a heart disease patient? And, I think that the data short term, again, short 6 months, maybe a year, shows that there's probably reasonable safety, but there's still going to be some risk to it. But there's no question about it that long term, it would be considered medical malpractice for a doctor to put a patient long term on a ketogenic diet. That just absolutely should not happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other thing that made me think about cardiologists, you can't take advice from any cardiologist and think, well, he's a cardiologist, he must know. Now, when the weekend that I was at the half-day seminar with Neal Barnard and you and Dr. Williams, I think it was when Dr. Williams spoke, he put up photographs of cardiologists who have died of heart disease. I mean, there's just tons of them. And one of them had been president of the American Heart Association 2 weeks after the AHA conference where Dr. Williams spoke and talked about the whole food plant-based diet. The president of the AHA had a heart attack, and Dr. Williams said, I called him and said, what's up? And the guy did not change his diet, and he did die later.
Yeah, and so, we always say you got to put the oxygen mask on yourself first before you can help others, and that certainly applies to cardiologists. Number one cause of death amongst cardiologists is heart disease. We need to take care of ourselves as doctors and cardiologists first before we can spread this message to our patients. So it's so true. one of the big issues is the lack of nutrition education. I got zero nutrition education in all my medical training. I had to do this all myself independently because I saw the power of lifestyle medicine and plant-based nutrition. But really, Dr. Kim Williams has this great quote, and to paraphrase it a little bit, it's something like there are two types of cardiologists: those who recommend a plant-based diet and those who have not yet read the research. And that's very true. Yeah. Cardiologists don't read nutrition research. It's not published in cardiology journals. And cardiologists don't say, it's not my job to do nutrition and this type of prevention. I don't follow it myself. Why would I, talk to my patients about it? And so it's just really sad. We need to shift that so that we actually have cardiologists that know what they're talking about evidence-based nutrition for heart disease prevention and even heart disease reversal. It's a sad state out there. What recommendations you might get from your doctor, and so really you got to be your own best advocate in regards to these things.
Right.
Yeah.
So check out one of my other videos by clicking its image on the right side of your screen, and I'll see you in the next video.